Okay, so now the same addition that we did, essentially using the addition algorithm, essentially writing the numbers on top of one another in columns, and that what we did in the previous video. So the same type of operation when it comes to numbers which are not very large, for example a 25 plus a 12, you can still somehow manage to essentially do the operation on a Ginladi in your mind, basically. So and then of course your Ginladi has to have basically a 30 to somewhere all the way up to 40. For example, you need to have 40 marbles on your string, and then you can do all kinds of calculations on your marbles. So if you want to do, for example, a 25 plus a 12, right? So you start from, and of course you know that your Ginladi starts from 1 and then goes, and then you use different colors. For every 10 marbles you use a separate color. So for example, for the first 10 marbles you use yellow, and then for the second 10 marbles you use another color, and then again, for example, yellow, and so on and so forth, so that counting becomes easier, right? And then basically a 25 would be a 10. So this whole color from the beginning to the end is a 10, and then another color would be a 10, another 10, so that's a 20. And then you want to go 25, so 20, essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that's a 25. And they have put the marker over here after the actual marble. But what they mean is that essentially 25 is this marble which is right before the separating line, basically, right? So you have the 25 over here, and then a 12, basically you have to jump forward 12 steps. So then of course this you have to do it by counting. So you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and then you put your marker over here, which actually refers to this marble right before the marker, right? You have to be consistent with what you do. Otherwise, of course, you will make mistakes. And then once you have placed your marker over here, then you can count. You have to count. So that's a 10, 20, 30. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, that's a 37. So that's a 37, and basically that's how you add essentially a 25 plus a 12 on a Ginladi, right? And you see that essentially this operation was not very easy because of the fact that I had, for the first part, for marking the number 25, that's okay, right? But then since you have to actually count 12 marbles to the right, counting 12 marbles is not very easy. You want to essentially count in such a way that you can actually use these colors for and essentially you can use these colors and actually not actually count, basically. So now let's do another one of these, which is a little bit more complicated. For example, a 57 plus a 34. A 57, of course, yeah, the 57 you can mark it on your Ginladi without any problems, because there is a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's a 57. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So that's basically a 57, right? Okay, so that's a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then you put your mark over here. But now basically counting a 34 becomes a little bit tricky, meaning that you have 3 marbles over here, and so you have 1, 2, 3, so that's a 30. And so you can essentially mentally say that basically I want to count essentially 34. So I leave these 3 marbles over here, and I go essentially 10, 20, 30 all the way up to the end of this color, and I needed 34. So then I had already 3 marbles over here, so that's a 33 all the way up to here, and then so I need to count one more marble to get to 34, and then I can put my marker over here, and then you can basically count which would be essentially 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 91, and so the calculation becomes a 91. And the exact same thing they have done over here as well. A 57 plus a 34, they have written it as a 57, meaning that the 57 you will count up to here, and then you will count the 30, although I actually I started counting from the beginning of the yellow color, right? I left this for the time being, I left this, and then I started counting from here. A 30 plus a 3 plus a 1, that would be essentially a 34, and that's basically a 91 basically, right? Or you can essentially do it this way, meaning that you have essentially 57 plus 34, so you will mark your 57 all the way up to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a 50, and that's a 7. And then a 34 would be, of course, you have to count the 30. So you will basically start from, what I did was that I left these 3 out. Momentarily I left them out, but what they have done is that you start counting from here, and you want to go in steps of, for example, 10, right? So you will go 10, another 10, another 10, and the way you know where to stop is that you see this mark over here is, in this color over here, after the mark you have essentially 3 marbles left. So if I want to go essentially 10 steps forward, I will go to the next color and go to the same place where there is still essentially 3 marbles of the same color left. So over here I have 3 marbles of this color left. Over here I have 3 marbles of the other color left, which essentially means that I have moved essentially 10 steps forward. Again, I will do the same thing. I have moved 10 steps forward. Again, I'll do the same thing. I have moved. Now right here you see that they have made a mistake. It's a mistake in the book, but that's not important. You moved 3 steps. There is 3 of this color left. You moved 10 steps forward. Again, 3 of this color left, and then you will move essentially 10 steps, and here you see there is 4 of this color left, which means that they are supposed to move essentially one more step forward, and then you add to that essentially another 4 steps, and then you will get to 91. That's again, although this is not very easy to do in your mind. The way that I did it on in the previous step, that was easier to do. At least for me, it's easier. It's up to you what you want to do, of course. Now if you want to do, for example, a 24 plus a 43, so then of course you have to specify where 24 is. So that's a 10, a 20, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So you put your marker over here, right? Now a 43 would be so there is essentially, now I will whenever it's possible, I want to use actually the colors so as not to have to essentially keep counting over and over again. So what I could do is that I could say that, for example, I'm going to I need a 43. So there is essentially 6 of these marbles over here left, all the way up to the end of this yellow color. So I just keep it there, and then I will go essentially 10, 20, I need a 40. So I go 10, 20, 30, 40. So starting from the beginning of this color, if I go 10, 20, 30, 40, I'll end up here, right? And then 43 would be all the way up to this mark over here. And because of the fact that I left these 6 marbles over here, now I have to go back 6 marbles. This is easier. Now the only counting that I have to do is just 6 marbles back. Otherwise, all along the way, I was now able to essentially use all the colors, and I didn't have to do any counting really. So this is much easier. So for the 3, I go back essentially 6 steps, so that's 3 and 3 steps, and I put my marker over here. And now I can count. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's a 60. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's a 67. That's how you would essentially do this operation on Ginladi, which is again something that I don't prefer. I don't prefer really not to do this, meaning that personally when I want to calculate 24 plus a 43, I know that I have 2 groups of 10 and 4 groups of 10, meaning a 20 and a 40, so that's a 60, right? And a 4 and a 3 is a 7, so that's just simply 67. I don't even have to use the Ginladi, really. I use for example, in this case, I use the groups basically. I mean the place value in the number. In the number, essentially, you have the groups of 1, groups of 10, groups of 100. Whenever you can, I mean, at least what I do is that whenever I can, I use those place values in calculation. Okay. So that's basically that. Now in the next video, what we are going to do is that we will essentially find some way in order to create a number line out of the Ginladi that we had. So I'll see you in the next video, and thank you.